In one of the final scholarly works of her long and distinguished career, Germana Ernst has produced a beautiful and useful critical edition of Galileo's astrological Manuscript 81, entitled Astrologica Nonula. It contains horoscopes for 19 people, written in Galileo's own hand, and all have been gathered together into one manuscript. Although it was known for over a century, and although its attribution has never been seriously challenged, Manuscript 81 and the essentially normal astrological practices that it reveals have not yet been taken fully into account in the literature seeking to understand and assess Galileo's life and works, and it has never been published in its entirety before. While teaching at the University of Padua, Galileo practiced astrology by constructing and interpreting horoscopes for a range of patrons, students, and family members, seeking, among other things, to raise extra money, as we can see in his contemporary account books, for payments made to him per sortem. This evidence dates some of these horoscopes to 1603, that is, soon after the death of one of his early patrons. Other of these horoscopes were made soon after the births of his two daughters, Virginia and Livia, which might also explain the need for extra money. We possess other evidence for Galileo's astrological practice around this time, including his first investigation by the Venetian Inquisition in 1604, following the official denunciation made by his former nemesis, Silvestro Pagnoni, who had accused Galileo of practicing a deterministic astrology. We know about this revealing incident in some detail from Antonino Papi's valuable research, including that the case was dropped because Galileo was practicing normal, not deterministic astrology. As we now know without any doubt, throughout the 16th and well into the 17th century, astrology was still taught at the finest Italian universities, including at both Padua and Bologna, and was a normal part of the study, practice, and teaching of an early modern mathematicus. We can also tell of a course of 113 lectures on Ptolemy's Tetrabiblos, composed and taught at the University of Pisa in the 1580s, while Galileo was a student there, although we do not know if he actually took the course. In the body of her edition, Germana Ernst clearly sets out the particulars of each horoscope, including the numerical astrological and astronomical details in Galileo's worksheets, some quite extensive. These were used towards an interpretation or judgment, 5 of which are appended to their respective horoscopes. Planetary dignities and debilities, with their numerical assessments, loom large on these pages, especially in the horoscope of his friend and patron, Gian Francesco Sagredo. And tables with ephemeris entries for the day in question are present, along with the calculations that Galileo employed to determine planetary locations. Ernst has also supplied the horoscopes with numerous relevant explanatory annotations. Most of the people for whom horoscopes were constructed in Manuscript 81 can be identified. Some were family members, including Galileo's sister Virginia, his brother Michelangelo, his nephew Cesare, and his daughters Virginia and Livia. Perhaps the most valuable feature is the transcription of Galileo's astrological interpretations, which were all written in Latin, some of which are very difficult to read in the manuscript. These interpretations are very interesting in that we can thereby catch a glimpse of Galileo doing the normal work of both casting and interpreting horoscopes. The longest one is for his student Cristoforo, which systematically discusses parts of his life, including marriage, sickness, and death. The construction of Galileo's own horoscope, in two variant versions but without an interpretation, and those for his two daughters, with their own interpretations, as well as for other family members, belie assertions claiming that Galileo personally rejected astrology or that he only used it cynically for patronage purposes. Germana's valuable critical edition of Galileo's astrological manuscript may now be used as a solid foundation on which to base a comprehensive study of the technical and interpretive features of Galileo's astrological practice. As it turns out, Manuscript 81 only collects birth horoscopes, the only astrological practice by Galileo for which we have evidence. Within these natal horoscopes, there is apparently nothing new or revolutionary, thus revealing a traditional astrological practitioner. Furthermore, his use of Arabic techniques for determining the length of life, with the Hilek and the Alkokoden, as well as his use of directions and numerous astrological dignities and abilities, indicates his use of traditional medieval Arabic and Latin astrological techniques, as we can clearly see in the numerous tables and interpretations in the horoscopes. The inescapable fact, known for some time now, is that this father of modern science was also a practicing astrologer, a normal part of the practice and teaching of an early modern mathematicus. Germana Ernst has provided the scholarly community with a very useful working edition of this central source for, but by no means all of the evidence for, understanding, interpreting, and assessing astrology's several roles in Galileo's life and work.